begin the easy pinhole cast on, we're going to make a slip knot, and we're going to do it so that the end that we pull to tighten it is the end rather than the working yarn. So we're going to make a loop by flipping our yarn over, reaching through and grabbing the end. Then we can bring that through and tighten it. And now when I tug on the end, this tightens. If I tug on the working yarn, it just tightens this knot. And that's what we want, because we want this end left so that we can use it to tighten up things afterwards. So we're going to place our slip knot on our needle, tighten it up, and then we'll do a backwards E cast on. So that is where we grab our thumb, we bring the yarn up and over, and we simply scoop through and put that on the needle. You can also do a backwards E cast on by taking the yarn in your fingers, flipping it over to form a loop like this, and just placing that loop on your needle. Now that we have our slip knot and our E-loop cast on, we are ready to do the actual pinhole cast on. So here's our E-loop, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to knit into that loop, bring the yarn through, then I'm going to do a yarn over, then I'm going to come back into that loop, knit through, do a yarn over, and repeat as many times as I need till I have the required number of stitches. So in this case, I have 5. This cast on works for an odd number of stitches because the yarn over stitch isn't going to be secure. So if you need an even number of stitches, I suggest that you cast on one more or one fewer than you need. And in the first row of your instructions, just fudge things, either increase or decrease, or if you're working increases, just work one fewer increase if you've increased by 1 stitch, that sort of thing. But you can cast on an odd number of stitches just by knitting into the stitch, doing a yarn over, and repeating. Once you've got the number of stitches, slide it off, and then you've got your yarn over, or slide it off, and then you have your slip knot, which you can now pull to loosen. And when I tug on the working yarn here, it will tighten up that hole. So as I work, this may expand a little bit and get bigger, but when I go to weave in this end and tighten it, it will tighten up really nicely. And now let's do that with the throwing or English style. So into that E-loop, we're going to throw our yarn, bring it through. Then we need to create a yarn over. So we're going to bring the yarn up and over, turn that around, knit it, bring it through. Again, to yarn over, we need to bring it up and over. Then we can knit again and repeat. Now you can see that I am definitely not as good at this method of knitting as I am at the other art, but this will at least give you the mechanism you need. So we've got 5 stitches in this example. We'll slide it off. We can remove our stitch knot, our slip knot, and then this is now a tightenable cast on. So thank you to Romy Hill who showed me how to do this. When I first tried various pinhole cast-ons, they were all fiddly and I didn't like them and I didn't quite understand them, but this is something that is easy to do, easy to remember, and just makes such a difference to little tiny circular, from the inside of a circle out sort of projects.